Dan Illman, Mike Beer taking a look at race number 10 at Saratoga on Friday, part of the Belmont Stakes Festival. The grade one, just a game. We're going a mile on the inner turf for fillies and mares. $500,000 is the purse. We take a look at this field, you're going to see a common theme. 7 horses in this race, 5 trained by Chad Brown.
Yeah, a couple of outsiders. They managed to hustle in here, but otherwise, Dan, nothing to see here. Chad Brown has 5 of the 7. These races they're getting harder and harder to like.
And it's fairly evenly matched of the Chad 5. White Beam is your 5-2 morning line favorite. Winner of the grade 1 Diana at Saratoga last year. Let's throw up the time form US pace projector. Pace really made the race the last time some of these Brown trainees faced off. White Beam might be able to make the lead in here. She was part of a very fast pace last time out in the Beaugay before tiring. Although, if the 2 Butte Cachet breaks, Mike, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I don't see why they would try to switch it up now. It certainly worked for her last time. White Beam, yes, she was sort of involved on a quick pace in her seasonal debut. She was also involved on a pretty quick pace in the Matriarch at the end of last year, but I don't think I would classify her as a speed.
While Evie Jets has shown the ability to rate recently, she has also won races from on the front. And I wonder if they're going to get aggressive with her after getting a nice sort of fitness builder in her seasonal debut. Let's start things off with the 1 Mission of Joy going out for the Red Hot Graham Motion. This horse was 4th last time out at Churchill Downs behind Chile Flag. I thought she ran okay. I think she can take a step forward with that race under her. A graded stakes winner at Churchill Downs last year.
Yeah, I liked her early on in her career. So I thought she was a really good 3-year-old last year, Dan, and she's just sort of getting started here. I mean, I think when you go back and watch that Distaff Turf last time, you're not going to see any kind of big excuse for her there. She was in the mix in the stretch, and the Chad Brown fillies run 1, 2, 3 in there. And Mission of Joy just wasn't quite good enough to kick with those horses. But overall, she ran fine. Now she draws inside after having post 10 last time. I think there's a good trip coming for her, and I think she's pretty good. I don't think she's, overmatched by these horses.
It was Butte Cachet's turn last time out, and the grade 1 Jenny Wiley dismissed at 25-1. Frankie Dettori gave her a beautiful ride. She bobbled a bit leaving the break. It didn't dissuade Frankie from getting to the front. They walked on the lead in a race where there was no passing whatsoever, and she has plenty left to hold them off. I think a lot of folks are going to say the trip made all the difference.
Yeah, and they would be right to say that. It's not like she did, it's not like she hadn't run any good races before the Jenny Wiley did, because she had run some good ones. But certainly the trip made the difference there. She got loose on a really slow pace. Nobody went after her. And then there was no passing through the stretch, and she did what she had to do. I still think she's pretty good. But make no mistake about it, she paid $50 last time, and that was the time to have her. Not only is this a tougher field, but I don't think they're going to just let her walk on the lead this time.
Gina Romantica was compromised in the Jenny Wiley. She tried to rally from out of it. That's A. B, it was her first start since the Breeders' Cup Mile, and I have a feeling that Chad probably wanted to consider her for races like this, as well as races like the Diana into the summer and into the fall. She won the First Lady last year at Keeneland. She ran really well in the Breeders' Cup Mile. You give her more of a fair pace to run at, as she should get here. She's very dangerous.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, listen, it's certainly fair to be disappointed in her Jenny Wiley. No pace in front of her or not. It's not like she ever fired a real good shot in there. So, maybe that's something to be concerned about. But wasn't there a case to be made, Dan, that off of especially those last couple of starts of 2023, that this was Chad's top turf mare this year coming into 2024? It didn't work out off the layoff, but don't be surprised when she rebounds. She was really good last year.
You might argue 3-1 is very, very fair considering what she did last year and that she had an excuse in her seasonal debut. Dettori piloted Butte Cachet to win the Jenny Wiley. He'll be aboard Copus as this one makes her second start in North America for Chad, just missing to stablemate Chile Flag last time out. Like a lot of Europeans, she didn't get away to the greatest beginning, but I liked how she fired in the stretch.
She ran well in that race. To me, she was only second best in there, despite going favored, because ultimately, then I know that she was off the layoff in there, and that's something that you at least want to take into consideration. Chile Flag had already had a couple of starts, but Dettori gave this filly a perfect trip in that race, and she got through on the inside, and she had the lead in the stretch, and she was second best in there. Maybe she'll turn the tables this time, but I don't see any reason not to take Chile Flag over again.
Evie Jets did some really good work when learning to rate at Saratoga last year, winning the Ballston spot, something like 30 to 1 odds. I didn't think her first lady was bad when she was beaten by Gina Romantica. I liked that they skipped the Breeders' Cup with her. She's just not that kind of a horse. I expected a little bit more last time out at Churchill, but maybe it was just too much of an ask to run her in a graded stakes race off such a lengthy layoff.
Yeah, didn't run well in that race. They did rate her from the start of that race, so it felt like maybe there was that idea that she was going to need one anyway. Dan, it was a disappointing performance, but she's better than that. And listen, I'm not going to say that I love her in here. She's got her hands full with all these Chad Brown horses, but I like the point that you made in the open. She's fast enough to just come out of there running, go to the lead, and see what happens.
Chile Flag seems like the now horse from the Chad contingent because even when you watch a race in the Pegasus World Cup, that's just an impossible trip where she's firing in the lane, over and behind horses, in between rivals, and she's running. You liked her in the Honey Fox last time. She swung widest turning into the stretch and kicked them down with a strong late run. And last time out, I thought she only won by a neck over the good trip Copus, but I thought she was a comfortable winner, and it just seems like she continues to get better.
Yeah, I agree. I think the real key to her too is the mile. I don't think she really wants to go much farther than that. But and she is a little bit pace dependent too, so you always have to keep that in mind. She wants to sort of sit off of it and then make a big run through the stretch. But she was awful good last time. I mean, I know Copus was off the layoff in there. Again, you want to take that into consideration. But Copus got a great trip in there. Chile Flag came widest to the stretch and charged it down. Another forward move for her. She's really dangerous again.
While White Beam is the expected pace setter from Timeform US, she did win the Diana, just tucking in behind the leaders last year and firing on home. Here's her most recent start, the Bogey. This is her first start off the layoff, and she was really keyed up, getting involved in a wicked battle with Spirit and Glory. And it looks like one of these two is going to get it done, but they are on fumes the final 16th, and Nisi Marie's going to come get them. All in all, I think this is a good effort off the layoff from White Beam, Mike. And if they decide to just let Butte Cachet go out there, White Beam might be sitting in a great spot with the first run.
Yeah, trip could be a lot different this time. You understand what Irad was doing there in the Bogey too, because it kind of felt like her and Spirit and Glory were the two right horses, and neither one of them sort of wanted to concede to the other, so they wound up dueling each other into defeat. It was still fine. I mean, I don't know, Dan. Maybe you can elaborate on this more than I can. I just don't really like this horse that much. I mean, she's run fine since Chad got her over here, and she is a Grade 1 winner in that Diana, but I'm just not thrilled with any of her races since she got over here. And I'm not sure that I want to bet her against this field where I think there are other options.
Well, especially if she's 5 to 2, and you've got
Yeah.
horses like Gina Romantica at 3 to 1, and maybe some of these others at 4 to 1, like Chile Flag. But her best assets are tactical speed. You give her a good trip, and she's
Yeah.
likely going to fire a good shot. Let's take a look at our top picks for this race. I'm going to zig where everyone else is zagging. Everyone's off Butte Cachet, pace-aided win last time out, and maybe that was the case. But going back for several of her other races, while she certainly didn't run that kind of figure, I don't think her other races were quite terrible. I thought they were okay, and maybe she's just getting better. And she also likes a little bit of cut in the ground, which she might get on Friday. I need 8 to 1. I don't think I'm going to get it, which means maybe I sit this one out. I think Gina Romantica, if she goes off with the morning line price, might be the right one.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. Just liked what she did last year, and I think it's fair to give her that race off the layoff last time, even though she didn't run well. I think she rebounds in here. I agree with everything you said about your top pick, but I'm not using that horse. I tried to sneak Mission of Joy in there, Dan. I think she's a little underrated, and she's going to get totally overlooked in here.
And again, the motion barn has just been firing on all cylinders the last 2 weeks or so. 3164 for Mike, 2463 for me. It's the Chad Brown Show, it seems, in the Grade 1, just a game at Saratoga on Belmont Stakes Festival Friday. Good luck.